Fly fishermen have always dreamt of catching, at least once in their lifetime, a really big fish with a fly rod. If a trout or Arctic char is going to grow really large, then it has to start eating small fish from a very early age. This is why a lot of big fish hunters have moved on from dry and wet flies, preferring to use streamers instead. A streamer being the collective name for flies which imitate small fish, the prey of the larger fish. Every year in the mighty rivers of northern Sweden, migrating trout weighing several kilos are regularly caught. Jakob Jonasson, from the village of Saxnäs, is renowned as a skilful fisherman of these large trout, having caught countless numbers weighing over 4 kilos. To learn more about streamer fishing in northern Sweden, we've arranged to meet Jakob on his home waters, the Ransar River, close by the village of Saxnäs.
It's a nice place this, isn't it?
Yeah.
A bit shallow out there and suddenly just very deep, a couple of meters out. You got any luck here?
No, not yet.
No?
And you?
Just missed the fish down at the point, but
Okay.
nothing after it. What do you try with?
I'm fishing with a very colorful streamer.
That was a colourful
Yeah.
streamer, yes.
Pink and white and pearl.
Yeah, totally different from the flies we
Yes.
looked at earlier.
Yeah.
Jakob, do you have different strategies for streamer fishing after Arctic char compared to brown trout fishing?
Yeah. The brown trout here is normally eating minnows, small fish,
Yeah.
which the char is not.
Okay.
So I don't want to imitate a bait fish. I want to create a reflex bite from the fish. So I use colorful flies, and I fish them, as you have seen, very fast.
Yes. So it's more of lures that you use when
Yeah.
fishing for Arctic
Yes.
char. Okay.
And I have to present the fly for maybe 20 fishes before one of them bites.
All right, really. I have seen you, like you said, retrieve the fly extremely quick. Yes.
And it's a good way to create those reflex bites.
Yeah.
The fish don't have very much time to look at the fly, and you can get that.
Get some attractions and they're following. Yeah. It's interesting. Very, very different from fishing after brown trout, isn't it?
It's very different.
Yeah.
No imitation at all.
No.
Just lure fishing.
Oh, interesting.
But sometimes very effective.
Yeah, I have seen that. I have tried with this black woolly bugger, but you would say that this is definitely not the colors you normally use when fishing for char.
No, to me that's a brown trout fly. And,
so maybe there was a brown trout that took my fly out there then.
yeah, maybe.
I will go down to see at the point if I can meet another fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Will you continue here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And give it a try.
Yeah. Okay.
See you later.
See you later.
This stretch of the Ransar River consists of 2 wide, slow-moving areas, linked by narrow and sometimes fast-moving rapids. There are both Arctic char and trout in these waters, but above all it's the big Arctic char that attract fishermen from all over Europe. The char has a reputation among fly fishermen for being hard to catch, almost mystical. Quite often you have to use small flies and present them with great delicacy and patience. The question we're asking about the mountain char, which usually prefers insects, is whether a streamer will work in these slow-moving waters. Jakob is confident that it will, and he's proved it on many occasions. He says that a colourful streamer works best, arousing the fish's curiosity rather than its appetite. In these slow-moving waters, the current doesn't affect the fly's movements much, so Jakob retrieves the fly using different speeds at different depths. Sometimes the char's near the surface, and sometimes the char likes the fly presented near the bottom of the river. Johan decides to do the latter, so he's changed the floating line for a sink tip. The tip of this fly line will sink and lie on the bottom, while the orange casting line behind it will float. To prevent the fly getting stuck on the bottom, Johan uses a booby fly, a sort of streamer that floats above the river bottom, with a length about equal to the leader. The tactic is simple. First, let the line sink and place itself on the bottom. The fly is retrieved slowly. As most of the natural food for the fish is gathered along the edges, Johan decides to fish these particular areas. At last he gets his reward. One of the Arctic char in these slow-moving waters can't resist the white booby fly. And even though the tackle is substantial, the char gives a good account of itself before finally capitulating. In the Ransar River's slow-moving waters, the rules are strict. You may only keep one fish per day. The minimum size is quite large, to help keep as large and as healthy a stock of Arctic char as possible.
That was a good fish, Bosse, wasn't it? I think we will have another one, won't we?
The slow-moving waters also offer an opportunity to catch a good-sized trout. But to do that, you need a completely different strategy.
Time for a fly change, isn't it?
Yeah.
What have you been fishing with?
I've used this little minnow imitation.
That's a beautiful fly. It's a very classic fly, isn't it?
Very classic. It's a very stiff fly with a stiff wing and a big muddler head. And I use this type of flies for the rapids here.
Yeah.
It will create a lot of sound in the water, and the rapid will give it the movement.
Okay.
So it's a very good fly for the fast-moving water here.
So do you use any extra weight in front of the fly, or do you fish it with a sinking line if it's necessary?
Normally I fish it with a floating line and split shots or sinking leaders, but sometimes when it's very high water I use a sinking line.
Okay.
As well. But now I'm going to change it for a woolly bugger.
Yeah.
I will fish the slow moving parts.
Yeah.
And I want to fly with a lot of life and movement in it. And the woolly bugger with these rubber legs is a perfect fly. Here.
And a marabou hackle and a marabou tail as well, which really moves.
A lot of movement.
So your opinion about streamers is to use stiff materials for the rapids and the fast water and soft materials for flies that you use in the slower water. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a nice fly, isn't it? What do you think about tonight then?
Well, it's becoming cloudy, so I think the conditions will be very good tonight.
Yeah, hopefully it will. May I try this fly?
Yeah, of course.
I will go over and try the bay, the other side. So, what do you say, coffee in an hour?
Perfect.
Yeah, catch you later. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
The summer days in Lapland are long, and the difference between night and day is often unclear. And even though there are lots of Arctic char and trout in the slow-moving waters, none of them seem interested in taking our streamers. In contrast to the char, which often swims in small groups, the trout is a lone hunter. And it's also shy and easily spooked, which doesn't make fishing in daylight any easier. As day becomes evening, some of the Arctic char start to get active near the edge of the current by the inlet. Time to change tactics. The sinking line's replaced by a floating line, and a much smaller and lighter streamer, hook size 12, is tied to the leader. It's often worthwhile to just sit and wait for the fish to come closer. But these char show no sign of changing their usual feeding habits. The Arctic char are absorbed in eating the non-biting midge pupae and ignore all our efforts with the streamer. The first take only comes when Johan reduces his retrieve speed and almost lets the fly lie completely still. At last, a fish takes the fly. The question now is, have we cracked the code, and will another char take the fly? The answer comes at once. An aggressive fish takes the mini streamer at the next cast. For its size, an Arctic char is a surprisingly tough opponent and provides a stiff challenge for the fly fisherman. Johan puts the fish back quickly so he can try to catch one of the larger char that can be seen feeding along the edge of the current. At first, Johan presents the fly using the same slow retrieve as before, but as nothing happens, he increases the retrieve speed so that the fly will be closer to the surface. The take is really fierce. This fish feels much bigger than the one before, and it's not going to give up easily. But after fighting for a while, it starts to move in smaller and smaller circles, a sure sign that it's ready to be netted. Catching such a large, beautiful Arctic char is a fulfilling experience, providing fond memories to enjoy during the dark months of winter.
Bye-bye.
Even though the char fishing in these slow-moving waters has been a success, Jakob isn't really satisfied. He misses the trout and wants us to stay on to try the waters after dark. While we wait for dusk to end, we prepare for the night by making coffee in the northern Swedish style, boiled over an open fire.
So Jakob, you have been fishing this water for several years, and I don't know anyone that have caught so many big trouts that you have over the years. What would you say are the most important things to think of to become a good trout fisherman?
I would say that the most important thing is to be careful. Very, very careful. When you approach the water, don't step on any rocks or disturb the surface.
So you don't just wade out into it?
No. Big trout is a very, very spooky fish. Almost like another species from the small trout.
Yeah.
And they are very spooky. I would also say that a very important thing to do is to use the dark hours.
Okay.
Because big trout is eating in the dark and it's less spooky. So don't go up, make campfire, sit and eat or go to sleep.
So you rather prefer to sleep in the morning than you do over the night hours? Okay.
Definitely.
All right. So when you have found a good spot that you really believe in, do you stay there for a long time and work?
No, absolutely not. I would say that it's very important to fish a spot with few casts, to make very little disturbing on the water, and be careful. Few casts and then move away.
So if I would add all those advices to one keyword, that would be stealth approach, wouldn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Look there.
Yeah, there is.
Baby. Let's see.
Prime time for fishermen who want large trout. That's night time, according to Jakob. Under cover of darkness, the shy trout make their way out into the current to feed. Jakob moves cautiously along the edge so he won't spook the fish. He avoids wading in the slow-moving waters. At the outlet at the lower end of the slow-moving stretch, a narrow neck has formed, and there are always fish lying there during the night. The fly, a large, heavy sculpin imitation, is retrieved slowly. The cast is always placed on the other side of the water, so the fly can slowly sweep along downstream towards its own side. But even though the spot is a good one, as is the presentation, the trout is absent. We'll just have to wait patiently for a while and try again when it's completely dark. Fishing for the river's shy trout with a streamer is often like this. Patience and waiting are the watchwords. We might be lucky tonight, or we'll have to wait until tomorrow night, or the next one, or the next. The mists over the water thicken as the last shades of dusk disappear. And suddenly, exactly as Jakob has predicted, a trout takes. There's a special feeling about playing a powerful trout in the darkness. You don't have the same control as in daylight, and you can only hope the fish doesn't go round a rock or rush too far away downstream. Jakob puts a lot of pressure on the trout to try to get it into the edge as fast as possible. After resisting for a while, it gives up and comes quietly to the bank. During our visit to Lapland, we've learnt a lot about fishing for trout and Arctic char with streamers. You can catch both of them, but with very different methods.